there's a lot of great YouTubers out there that for years now I've been listening to, and a lot of me just wants to say, thank you to these guys and gals, because they put a lot of effort into something they're not really getting. I mean, some get paid, I don't doubt it. I know it's not a lot. They probably get paid more through their PayPal and Patreons and stuff like that than, YouTube will ever pay them. So yeah, I would just love to say thank you to a lot of these guys, and I try to through comments, and I try to let people know when I talk to people in life throughout the day. It's very hard to point people in these directions unless they're on some sort of solid ground with it. Because if I were to just throw anybody, into videos like John Levy or Matt from Quantum of Consciousness, most people wouldn't last more than 10 minutes watching it. And I've tried, trust me, I've tried to. You would think John Levy would be an easy person for someone to get into, just because, he's really showing you what evidence he has behind this stuff. So, sure, they're still considered theories, I guess, but they're educated theories. Nobody's just throwing stuff against the wall without sources and where they get their information from. And most of it you could fact check yourself. So there's a channel I wanted to talk about called Naughty Beaver. He's a great channel to get into. He's been doing videos probably like 5, 6, 7 years. And I've seen a lot of his stuff, and it blows my mind almost all the time. Very rarely will he put a video out that you don't get much out of it. But it's interesting how he does his videos, and his thought process behind is actually kind of scary, because if he's accurate, which I would tend to lean towards he's more accurate most of the times than not accurate. If he's accurate in his thought process and what he's saying, it's pretty amazing. He uses Nostradamus, the Bible channelers, the Galactic Federation, which seems silly, right? Even though that's what every movie has shown us in the last, I don't even know how long. Ever since science fiction has been around. So this predates movies most of the time. And I don't know if anybody remembered a certain thing called Space Force, but and even Ronald Reagan got into Star Wars, not the movie. He wanted to set up an actual defense system for any outer atmospheric threat, and it really wasn't about the nuclear weapons. Ronald Reagan specifically said to the world that there one day could be a threat from an outside source, otherworldly, that could potentially harm the earth. And then again, going back to what Donald J. McFly said, he was talking about a space force, and why would they need that? Why would they need that? What, they need police in space? South Park made a great episode about that, by the way. So going back to Naughty Beaver, he, in 2017, he took an event that happened in the stars on September 23rd, 2017. And 2017 was a very interesting year. You know, the United States had the solar eclipse, and the great solar eclipse, according to the newspapers. So it was quite an interesting year. A lot happened that year, now that we look back on it. But what Naughty Beaver is saying, and again, you know, I've listened to him for quite some time, and I would love to have a conversation with these guys. Any of these guys. And they seem like, you know, it's pretty easy to tell when someone's pulling stuff out of their pockets, you know, or really doing some homework and looking into these things. And he's a Canadian that seems like a regular Joe, but something has been leading him into this research for a long time, according to him. And if you look at what he says about himself, according to Nostradamus, it's actually pretty scary if he's right. And I don't mean scary like fearful. I mean scary as in, like, you know, there's clearly a lot we don't know. But the thing I wanted to talk about is in September 23rd, 2017, there was an event that happened in the sky, and it lasted about 9 months. And right at the end, it was like, I believe it was Jupiter coming out of a womb in a star alignment in the sky that absolutely mimicked what Revelation says will happen. You know, like a woman cloaked with seven stars above her head, and you know, the way it plays out, I'm not, you know, I can't repeat it right now unless I'm reading it. But the way it played out was identical to what happened the date of September 23rd, 2017. It was like the birth of Revelations, according to the sky, the stars in the sky. And as far as anyone's figured out, that specific star alignment that happened during 2017 won't happen again. And if it does, it'll be 200,000 years from now. Because, you know, you can look pretty far into star alignments in the sky and try to find out when certain things are going to come around again, you know, knowing astrology and the way the stars move. And according to what we saw in September of 2017, that does not happen again in many, many, many lifetimes. So it's a once in a lifetime event. So, according to many people nowadays, he was the only one I ever saw say it at first. I really think he was the first one to catch it. Many people have said the same since him, but I'm pretty sure Naughty Beaver was the first one to catch it. So if that is the case, if Revelations started, according to the Bible, in September of 2017, which again, there was a solar eclipse in the United States, and the next solar eclipse of the United States will be in 2024. April 3rd, I want to say. April 3rd or 4th. So again, that's a 7-year period. You have 2017, so 2024. So the last big solar eclipse we got that America could see was in 2017, and the next one we will get that America can see is in 2024 in April. according to what Naughty Beaver is presenting, if you take the Hebrew calendar, which is 360 days, and take exactly 7 years from the date of September 23rd, 2017, you get to August 17th, 2024. That's an interesting date. One, because the Olympics will be held in Paris in 2024. That's the next big Olympics. And they end almost one day before that. I think they end on the 14th or 15th. So the 2024 Olympics end on August 15th of 2024 in Paris. Kind of interesting. I really highly suggest people go through the last 4 or 5 videos he's done. I mean, I would go back to 2017 if I were you and listen to what he was calling out at the time it was happening. And give him a listen. You know, again, I don't know what these guys are really like, but they seem to be calling this from the heart, and that's good enough for me. And that would be interesting. 2024 seems to be a very interesting year we got coming. That's the next election. I can only imagine how that's going to go. So there's going to be a lot of energy in that year. And we have a very important solar eclipse. It actually makes an X. If you take the 2017 solar eclipse, and if you look at the 2024 solar eclipse, it makes an X right in lower Illinois, in southern Illinois. I've been there. I went there last year because I needed to see exactly what was there, and it did not disappoint. First of all, that whole area is considered Little Egypt, which right there, I've talked about that before. Right there, that's just freaking weird to me. But I could see it. I could see why they call it Little Egypt. But there's a town called Makanda, is right where the point of the cross of the eclipse hit is in the town called Makanda. And look it up. Very interesting town. There's not much there, but what is there is worth seeing. And then you have Shawnee National Forest that's right there. So for that eclipse to come to that point, out of all of the points it could have hit, it comes to southern Illinois, Little Egypt, a town called Makanda, which is a fascinating little town. There's got to be maybe, I don't even know, maybe 200 people that live in that area. But what is there is awesome. It's actually amazing. Really amazing. I was so happy to see it. I'm trying to think, is that going to be a good place to be at that time? Is that where we would want to be? The thing that blows my mind about what Naughty Beaver's talking about is it seems to line up exactly with the Hopi prophecy. And the Hopi Native Americans seem to be far more advanced than any other Native American tribe, or they seem to really have some deep knowledge of things. And right where their tribe was from is called the Four Corners. If you Google or whatever, search the Hopi Four Corners, that's a pretty fascinating area too. And they say that is the center, the Hopi say that is the center of the universe. That spot in Arizona. called the Four Corners. And there's a cool monument there that I would love to see in person. Highly suggest getting into some of the things Naughty Beaver is talking about. It's really, really fascinating. And he's a good channel. And like I said, I really want to thank a lot of these guys and girls because they don't have to do this. And something is leading them to do this. And you have taught a lot of, you have helped a lot of people try to understand what we're in and why it is the way it is. Jacob of Israel, I think, is a great channel. Infinite Waters is an interesting channel. I like that channel. A lot of these guys are super happy all the time, and it kind of frustrates me, but I get it, and more power to them. Like Jacob in Israel reminds me of a WWE superstar, and it makes sense because he wrote for WWE. So I could see it. I could see why he is the way he is. But these people just, you know, they're showing their heart most of the time through their talks and what they're putting in their videos. And, you know, like, if I could sit down with John Levy and Howdy, I think Howdy's great. I can't remember his last name. Mackerel? Howdy? I can't remember his name. Such an intelligent speaker. Like, I really enjoyed Jordan Peterson for a long time. Nowadays, I don't know what he's all about anymore. He doesn't seem to be even the same person to me, but what he's taught me in the past, I would love to shake his hand. But Howdy, John Levy talks about him, Quantum of Consciousness talks about him. That guy, the way he speaks and the way he fluently has conversations with the camera, or, you know, the way he speaks his mind, genius. Gotta be a genius. And, you know, some of the things that Howdy's shown about the World's Fair, whatever's going on in the World's Fairs, it's I would love to go back to just to walk around those buildings, and I can only imagine what some of these people thought when they saw these things. And to be alive at that time, it's almost like you're stuck in between two worlds. It's kind of like what's going on now, where there's like a reality taking over our reality, and we're like stuck in between it. And that's kind of what I see happening in the World's Fairs. It's like a shift of reality, but they get to say goodbye to their old reality. So I can only imagine what that was like. And it's very similar now. So, and that is again what the Hopi are getting into. That, you know, reality start mixing and timelines are broken. You know, like if I heard a great point, and I can't remember who said it. You know, it's one of those guys that I'm talking about, or one of those channels. They said there's about a million, there's probably a billion. There's probably a billion different actual beliefs in this world right now. You know, I was even talking to my family, and there's 4 of us in the family, and I said, I was like, even though we're pretty close, I would say we're on the same page, but between all 4 of us, we all have different beliefs. So if you multiply that by the billions of people that are supposedly here, I could see how a timeline and realities can start mixing. You know, if you get into what we can manifest and how that works, if there's a billion people manifesting something different right now, would that fracture a timeline to the point where almost all possibilities are present at the same time? And that's kind of what it feels like, you know. John Levy and Howdy, they've been talking about how heavy things are right now. And I felt that. It's kind of passed for me. It doesn't feel so heavy anymore. But right after the holidays, it felt heavy. I don't know if there's more ether out here. I don't know if there's more, energy in the air, or if it's it's G whiz, 5G whiz. So it could be many possibilities, but I thought that was an interesting point, that there's so many beliefs going on right now. What would that manifest, and could that fracture a timeline to make all timelines possible? So we'll see, huh? Check out Naughty Beaver. Take care.